treat this morning is one of your classmates, anyway, I don't know if you know this, is a Chinese history scholar. He has read over 50 books in the area of Chinese history. Not only that, but he actually conducts a class in Chinese history in his home. And I think he's conducted over 40 classes, if I'm not mistaken. Mrs. Yamori and I had the honor of being his students at one of his classes.
Yes.
And we were really impressed. So we would like you guys to have that same honor and listen to Tony today as he talks about Chinese history.
And I'm going to support that to say this is yet one more example as Ms. Amora and our team have welcomed in folks to enlighten us in so many ways, from art and architecture to the STEM and STEAM fields to social justice issues. Think about all the talks that we've been able to have in middle school assembly throughout the course of the year. In a way, it's like a mini TED series, right?
Yes, it is.
Tony, as a scholar, and we don't use that term lightly, when we know that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in anything. Has anybody ever heard that concept before? 10,000 hours of practice, 10,000 hours of study. I don't care what it is you do or who you are, when you devote yourself to a passion, that counts. And so as brothers right now, we recognize that at any time, whether it be a visitor or one of us comes up in front and presents, that is leadership, that is courage and bravery. So with great respect, admiration, let's open our minds, our ears, and our hearts and learn from Tony. Can we have a round of applause for him?
Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Tony, as you all know. So first I'm going to start my presentation with a few questions about China. Right, okay, so this one is really easy. How do Chinese people eat their meals? Anybody? Is it doing? Yes, that is right. Chopsticks. And the second one is slightly harder, is which one is a traditional Chinese dress? Do it? Unfortunately, that's incorrect. Very cool stuff. Sean? No, that's not correct. The correct one is A, which is the Chiosean Chinese dress, and that's the Japanese dress, and that's the Indian dress. Which one is Chinese characters? B, yes, that is correct. So the A is Mongol, C is Korean, D is Hebrew, and E is Japanese, which people get mixed up with Chinese. So these are some examples of Chinese characters. It's the basic evolution of Chinese characters. And these, the top ones are the most ancient ones, and they were created like way before. So the fourth question is, which one is the first Chinese currency? D? No, that's not the first Chinese currency. Sean? No, that is also not the first one. It is? A? Yes, A. It is A. It's shelled about 5,000 years ago at the second dynasty, the Shang dynasty. And these are the knife coins at the Warring States about 2,400 years ago. These are the copper coins from Qin dynasty about 400 years ago, and this is the RMB 5th edition from 1999. So the fifth question is, what is Chinese New Year? A, yes, the first day of lunar year, because Chinese people they use a lunar calendar, so the first day of lunar year is the Chinese New Year. So the sixth question is, what is the Chinese zodiac of this year? B? No, it's not a dog. Oh, the big pig. Yes, that's right. Last year it was the dog. So the 7th question is, what is the purpose of Chinese New Year celebration? Kyle? All the above. Yes, Chinese people, there's a lot of myth about scaring away monsters. One of them is the ear monster, which has a lot of stories. And then Chinese people also gather when it's New Year. So my family, my dad goes to America, comes to us when it's Chinese New Year. And Chinese people also pray for harvest because it's like a new start, a new year, so we get more crops. 8. How long is Chinese history? Yeah. 5,000 years. Yes, China is longer than like any other civilizations that is still living. Like Egypt does not count because Egypt, it's not the same as before. And it changed. So China didn't change that much. Like it slowly evolved, and so see. So now we're gonna start it. So if you open the world map, you'll find a continent like a rooster. Not a continent, like a part of a continent that looks like a rooster. So that is China. There are 1.39 billion people in China. Now, can any of you point out where China is? China? Yeah. Yes, that looks like a rooster. So people wonder, how did China and these people come from? So about how the world is created, there's many myths and legends about it. And like people in this school, right? It's a Catholic school. I think it's God who made the world, right? And in China, there are many legends. So one of them is the story of Pangu. So the story of Pangu, do any of you know who Pangu is? What? Okay, like that's what he did, but do you know what he is to other people? Let's do it. Yes, he was think that he is a Chinese version of God. People often say that. So Pangu's story is actually not like a specific part of a religion. It's more like a myth, story, of legend. And the story of Pangu. So first, the world was all mixed up like an egg, and it was all dark. And then there was this giant / god, Pangu. He was sleeping in it for millions of years. And then one day, Pangu woke up, and then he found the world in darkness, and then he was angry that he couldn't see anything, and he was scared. So some legends say that he had an axe, some didn't. So he grabbed his axe and then split the egg. So the lighter parts of the egg flew into the air, and then flew up, and then became the sky. And then the heavier parts went down and then became the ground. So Pangu was happy that like there was light, he could see things, but the sky started falling down because it had no support. So Pangu decided to stand between it and then just stabilize it. So he stood there for millions and millions of years, and then when he grew tall, the sky and ground separated and separated. And then one day he fell down because he was super tired, and the sky and ground was stable, so it didn't crash. So he started becoming a part of the world. His head became the hills and mountains. One eye became the sun, another eye became the moon. His tears became rivers. His breath became the wind. His voice became thunder, and the lightning's eyes became lightning. His hair became grass and forests, and his fat became the sea. So China was created, but people still don't know like the myths and legends about how the people came from. So this story is about Nuwa. So do you know who Nuwa is? Does anybody want to take a guess? Sean? Yes, so Nuwa was a snake-tailed goddess who came to Earth where there was a lot of animals, but no humans. So Nuwa was having fun, communicating with the animals, but the animals obviously can't understand her. So she was like playing around with them and exploring the world. But she was getting bored because nobody can actually understand what she's saying. So one day she was just strolling around, and then she saw herself in a lake. So she decided to make figures that looks like her and can understand her. So he went to a mud pool, and then she made figures out of mud. And then she was about to give the first figure a tail when she realized that two legs has more use, and you could transport. So she gave the figures 2 legs. So Nuwa was getting tired of making so much figures with her hands. So she found a rope, she dipped into the mud, and she flung it to save more time, and then every single drop of mud became humans. So Nuwa told the humans their names. It's like, you're a human, you're also a human, you're a human. So it was said that the people Nuwa created by hand was the rich and powerful, and the people that she flung the rope and the mud drops became the poorer and weak. But the poor and weak can always become more powerful and stronger. So that's it for my presentation. So last summer, every summer I go back to China. So my mom took 10 families to a very poor village, and we lived there for a week. So I taught the kids in the village, school that's very poor, Chinese history and English 3 hours a day, and including other people too. They taught sports. One of my friends taught soccer, and another taught badminton. Another taught paper crafts, and there's a lot of things. So as you can see here, they had TVs. So we bought them TVs, but they didn't even know how to use them. So we taught them how to use them too. So when we came back we started a fundraiser to help the school to buy new desks and chairs. So I donated $100 as a starter, and recently we have reached the donation target, which is 3,000 yuan, which is equivalent about $4,500. And we send the money to the school, and the good news is that the students will get their new desks this month. So this summer we'll go there again. If you're interested and want to hear more about this day, please reach out to me. But if you're going to China, you can also join if you want. But it's going to be really hot. The average temperature is about 89 degrees, but there's fans. There's no air conditioning, but we bought them fans, so yeah. That's the end.
Yeah.
Does anybody have questions? Not for sure.
Yes. First of all, Tony, you are a natural teacher.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm wondering what thoughts you have about the kind of career you'd like to pursue.
Career? I haven't decided that much yet, but I want to create a lot of products that helps people, maybe like a scientist, engineer, like that. Is it too good?
Thank you. I'm blown away. I love this stuff in general. I spent a whole lot of my time learning about origin stories and creation stories, cultures, indigenous peoples, and civilizations. So I'd love to maybe talk with you more about this at another time too.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing this with us. Thank you also for sharing your culture with us. And I invite others who would like to do similar to please come and invite and ask to do that. Here's my question for you. Where do you learn about your history? Where do you learn so that you can teach others?
Oh, so I read a lot of Chinese history books. I came here about when I was 4th grade, so I spent a lot of time in China, so I learned a lot of history there.
Thank you.
So, Sean?
This is a question relating to the currency slide. How did they value the different, the shells, right?
Yeah.
How did they determine the value of the shells? Was it by the color?
No, well, it's pretty complicated. With my understanding, I think the more rare it is, the more less it is that they found, that it's more valuable. So they can determine. Anybody else have questions?
Tony, I love the work you did with the school in China. Could you tell us the name of the school and how many students attend that school?
Like in China?
Yes.
So I went to, you mean the school in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade?
I meant the school that you actually did the service work at
Oh,
in the summer.
this one?
Absolutely.
I think it's called Jinchang School, right? Jinchang School in Tianmen, the city Tianmen, very poor village. Anybody else have questions?
I do, Tony. Practically, are you teaching one of your courses here?
What do you mean?
You know how you teach the Chinese history course? Are you teaching right now on the weekend?
Right now, because we have spring break, and we're going to Hawaii, so not for March. So we will continue because my students, my friends, they have spring break at April. So I think I'll continue at May and continue until June.
Do you have any plans on raising some money in the United States to take to that school?
Yeah, actually, the $100 I donated is from the class that I. Should do it.
It's an observation, and it's just something you make me think of, that as we learn about ancient Chinese civilization, origin stories, you taught me things today I didn't know. I did not know about those 2 gods and the creation there. I I can't help but see similarities between other cultures, other indigenous peoples. So it's just, I'm just recognizing that tomorrow we're wishing well to some 7th graders that are going off to the Haverford Diversity Conference representing our school. And amidst all of the unique aspects of our individual cultures that could so quickly be considered differences, we also see these beautiful connections. Sean's question about shells and the value, I mean, right here on this continent, we know through our studies of indigenous Americans and our ancestors, we used wampum and shells and other things. So there's just these connections that make me think about, as different as we are, celebrating that, and also the bonds that bring us together in similarity. So thank you for making me think of that.
Thank you. Mrs. Cornell?
Cody, as your history teacher, I want you to know how impressed I am by your presentation today, and I would be honored if you would meet with me to do a mini lesson with the 5th graders, because the 5th graders now are just starting to learn about ancient China.
Okay.
I think it would be an honor to have you come in and do a presentation.
Can I do it? Yeah.
That would be wonderful. 5th graders, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.